Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another live webinar of AAA Associates Immigration Services. I would like to apologize for a technical difficulty that we had in the beginning. The application is play sometimes. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our endeavor to conduct these sessions for our esteemed clients, which gives us an opportunity to educate all of you about the programs and to inform you of any recent changes and updates. Migration is an aspiration for dignity, safety, and a better future for everyone, and this platform is centric to educating everyone about citizenship and residency by investment. Today, we'll be discussing the changes and updates on the citizenship by investment program of Commonwealth of Dominica. Surely, there's been a lot of progress in the program and it continues to excel even in these testing times of COVID-19. Today, we're honored with the presence of esteemed and highly recognized Prime Minister of Dominica, Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit. He's been the Prime Minister of Dominica since 2004 and has served as the chairman of the Organization of East Caribbean States, and most recently as the chairman of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, as we know it all, in 2016. We're also delighted to have with us the ever benevolent head of Citizenship by Investment Unit, His Excellency Emmanuel Nanthan. His Excellency was appointed as the head of Citizenship by Investment Unit in February 2015, leading the unit carrying out the Citizenship by Investment program, which has been remarkably contributing to the economy. Mr. Nanthan is also an enthusiastic and an active sports person. He is, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're still having some difficulties here. Just bear with me one moment. Sorry. So Mr. Nanthan is an active sports person and is currently the president of Dominica and Windward Islands Cricket. He's the former vice president of West Indies Cricket Board and is the director of the United States Cricket Association. We also have with us Mr. Imran Farooq, who all of you know him as perhaps the best immigration consultant, if that would not be a big word, but he's also the CEO of Samana Group of Companies, of which AAA Associates is a part. AAA Associates Immigration Services is the largest immigration service provider in the Middle East, North Africa, India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. And he's a registered member of Immigration Consultants of Canada Regulatory Council, ICCRC. And he has successfully established AAA Associates Immigration Services in promoting and representing investors for application in citizenship by investment and residency programs in the Caribbean, Europe, Australia, Canada, and US. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be answering all of your questions at the end. We kindly request you to post your questions throughout the webinar and we'll try to answer them all. You can ask questions in English, Hindi, Urdu, or Arabic. Without further delay, I would request His Excellency Nanthan to enlighten us about the recent changes in the program and how the program has been working in these testing times.
Thank you very much. And of course, it's my pleasure being here with you once again. I thought we were going to go with the Prime Minister first, and then I will speak it after because the Prime Minister might have to leave during the program.
Sure, His Excellency, we can do that. Prime Minister Skerrit.
Hello, greetings to you and greetings to all. And of course, special recognition of Mr. Farooq.
Welcome, Prime Minister. Thank you very much. It's an honor to host you.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
So people would like to hear about the program, Dominican program, from you. And so we have, I think initially we had some technical difficulty, but now that's resolved. And thank you for sparing your time. So Dominican citizenship by investment. So people would like to hear from you before we carry the format forward.
Sure. Well, I mean, as you know, we've had our program since 1993. It is a well-respected program. We rely heavily on the good governance principles of accountability and transparency in the process. We also value very much the due diligence process, because we are not an island unto ourselves. We are part of a global community. We have a duty to protect the integrity of our country and the safety of our country. Likewise, we also have an equal responsibility and duty to protect the security of other countries within the world. As time goes by, as you recognize, we have made certain changes to the program, and of course, Ambassador Nanthan will speak to some of the more recent changes to our program, responding to the requests of our stakeholders. We engage in a very participatory process of letting the stakeholders be part of making recommendations on how we should go about improving on our program. Dominica's program, it's governed by law. Our citizens have the same rights as citizens of Dominica. So someone who would have attained citizenship by way of the CBI program is a citizen of Dominica. They're no second-class citizens. We don't give you a different passport if you apply from that which is granted to those of us who were born in this country. And so it is a program that current applicants and prospective applicants and current citizens can rest assured of our seriousness. And this is not a program where, for example, if there's a change of government, the government can whimsically revoke your citizenship. The citizenship is protected by law. There are bases upon which the citizenship can be revoked. One being if you falsify information during the application process, so it can be revoked. But otherwise, your citizenship is protected by law. The other issue in regards to properties, our constitution in our country protects people's right to their property. So the government cannot expropriate or nationalize one's business or one's property without due compensation. The government must compensate you. Your property is protected by law, and you are free to own property in Dominica in your name. So when we say economic citizen, we also mean citizen of Dominica. So, your passport don't say economic citizen, or we don't classify you as an economic citizen. We use the term economic citizenship to define the program, but not to define those who would have become citizens of our country. If you look at our regulations, you will also recognize one of the special arrangements is that if you become a citizen and later down you have children, these children are automatically Dominican citizens. The same in case of my children, no matter where they are born or children of Dominicans by birth, no matter where they are born, their citizens their children would become citizens of our country. Our passport, as you recognize, is well respected. We are enhancing the quality of the passport. As a matter of fact, had it not been for COVID-19, we would have introduced in this quarter the new biometric passports. It will now be officially issued in March of 2021. An agreement has been signed with a Canadian firm to assist with the issuance of these passports, and this certainly will enhance the security of our passports. We continue to work with the member states across the globe in increasing the number of countries where we have visa-free access to. And this is an important issue of mobility for our citizens. So the number of attendant benefits to our citizens. As you recognize, we have opened our embassy in the United Arab Emirates. In the United Arab Emirates, in an effort, first of all, to further enhance the relationship between Dominica and the UAE. We have developed excellent relations with the UAE. Our embassy was officially opened earlier this year. It continues to provide services to our citizens, while at the same time seeking to enhance and deepen and broaden the relationship which exists between the Commonwealth of Dominica and the United Arab Emirates. And so this embassy and the intention there is to continue to open consulates in different parts of the region. Over the last few years, we have been expanding our relationship with member states in this particular region. And there is an appetite on both sides to enhance it by having a presence physically in these countries. And of course, there are attendant benefits to this. In respect to Dominican citizens who would have applied through the CBI program, in terms of owning properties and investing, there's a regime of concessions, fiscal incentives, which an investor is entitled to if he wants to do an investment in Dominica. And it is a very generous package, which includes up to about 20 years of tax holidays. You can repatriate all your profits with no restrictions. And the additional concessions that you enjoy in terms of waiver of import duties and value-added tax on imports and et cetera, et cetera. But for us in Dominica, to friends and colleagues, is that while we appreciate the economic benefit of the CBI to Dominica, we see this as a small country like Dominica, which is part of the international community, part of the United Nations, as making a contribution to the world. The reality is, unfortunately, there are many citizens, many global citizens, who have come into this earth and do not have a nationality. Not because of their own doing, but because of the circumstance under which they were brought into this world. And how can we deny someone who is born into this world of the very basic right of a nationality? And so we are seeking to address this as a small nation as part of our global efforts towards enhancing mobility, creating a better opportunities for these people, giving the children hope that there's a better tomorrow, and to give them an identity. And I believe that is assisting with the with world peace and engendering a culture of peace among people, among nations. And of course, there are people who, for one reason or the other, find themselves in particular circumstances of war and other challenges, and who want to ensure that they can provide a better future for the children. We all have children, and the most fundamental responsibility we have is to assure children of a better future, And as a small nation, for me, as the Prime Minister of our country, I value this. I value this. Our preoccupation is not only about the financial benefits, but about the role that we're playing. And this is what we share with the international community. Why countries like Dominica, St. Kitts, and Grenada, and St. Lucia, and Antigua, and others are involved in the program. Yes, there are economic and financial benefits, but we see this as making our contribution to global harmony as small island developing states. And in respect to projects, as you know, there are a wide range of projects, and we have the ANICHI that's under construction. And, you know, had we given approval, for example, to all of the developers who would have submitted projects to us, we would have had about 80 to 90 projects approved. But for us, it was not about quantity, it's about quality. and ensuring that once we put our signature to a project, we ensure we protect the investments made by these prospective citizens. And so in these agreements, people are fully protected, the investments are protected, and so forth. So we have gone instead for quality rather than quantity. And thank God, these projects have started, some have been completed, some are ongoing, and we pray that the Lord will bless us, and these projects will be able to come, all of them will come to a successful completion, and we have confidence that they will be coming. In terms of the fund side, we use these funds, especially in a time like COVID-19 and our response to the natural disaster of 2017, the hurricane, Category 5, which devastated our country. The CBI funds were largely responsible for our remarkable recovery. You know, had it not been for this program, our country would not have seen the dramatic improvements since the hurricane. And even within this COVID period, when, as you know, revenues have dropped in every country, tax revenues, but your expenditure has increased. And so the CBI funds have been helping in this. And we are grateful to the stakeholders, the developers, the agents, the promoters, who all played a part in promoting and marketing our program, and we urge you to continue. Those of you who have applied, we appreciate your applications, and you've been successful. We congratulate you. And those who are thinking, there's not much thinking to be done when it comes to considering application to Dominica. This is a trusted program, a program that has the support of the highest political authority in the country, and the cabinet as well. So it's not a program that we take lightly. We give great consideration to it, great thought to it. And we have an exceptional leader within the CBI unit in the person of Ambassador Nanthan, who is the most accessible head of any CBI unit anywhere in the world. With no fear of contradiction, I'm saying this. I mean, his accessibility is unparalleled. And we do so not because he is idle, but because we understand the need for relationships and partnerships, and the need for us to be responsive to the queries and the concerns and suggestions that have been made by the stakeholders who are in the field promoting this program. And so people like yourself, Farooq, and we appreciate your efforts, your partnership, and we look forward to the continuation of this effort. In respect to the project that's been done by Mr. Alec Lawrence, Anichi, we're very pleased with the progress. The project, notwithstanding COVID-19, never stopped. Construction continued. And it is a project that we believe provide great opportunity for investors. It is located in one of the most pristine locations in the country, on the west coast of Dominica, northern west coast of Dominica. And we certainly are excited about its completion. Thank you. I hope I didn't take too much of your time, you know, so.
No, thank you very much, Prime Minister. And it's an honor to have both of you, Prime Minister and His Excellency Emmanuel Nanthan. Thank you very much for joining us. Jihan, I'm hijacking the format a little bit because we started late because of technical issue, and Prime Minister has to leave for next meeting also. So we'll now move to the question and answer session, and so we get the most of the PM also. So before we go to question and answer session and balance of the presentation, I want to ask question to both of you that what is the impact of COVID in terms of processing? Because a lot of people are concerned that is Dominica is like any other jurisdiction, like some of the Western developed country where you get a simple answer: COVID, work from home, sorry, expect delays. So how have you, the CIU has responded to the COVID situation?
I think you asked a question directly to the CIU, so I will respond to that. Good morning again. Sorry, good evening to you out in Dubai and Pakistan and our listeners from all over. Really and truly, we had the impact of the coronavirus, which is the world pandemic. But we have been able to work fairly well. I must say, we spoke to our agents quite early, and when we looked at the onset, we in Dominica, you know, we have the portal system where we're able to ask you, our agents in Dubai or in China or in Russia or wherever else, to be able to upload all forms online. So initially, our agents were able to upload the files from wherever they were, and we were able to access those information and send them on to our firms for vetting and for due diligence. So really and truly, we were able to keep ahead with the work based on the portal system. Additionally, as time went on, you were able to get the documents and send them to us, and we continued with our processing. Normally, when we get the file, we send them in for due diligence. That will take a little while. So while we were doing due diligence, you were sending the physical files to us, and we were able to continue to work from there. Since then, I think we are on cue. We have gotten rid of all our backlogs, and we're able to continue our work. I must say, there are still some areas where some clients, depending on where they are from, can't get documents, and that the delays are really from the end of the clients where he or she cannot provide necessary documents that are required for us. Otherwise, from the office, we are working fine in Dominica. In Dominica, I must say, because of the way the Prime Minister and the government managed the COVID system, we were locked down for a while, but that wasn't for too long. In fact, very early, we got a few cases. We had around 18 cases, all of which were treated and sent home. And we had 100 days, more than 100 days, without any COVID-19 in Dominica. So we were able to open back up the country. Schools are open, every workplace is open. There are no curfews, and we were able to move about easily in Dominica. So fortunately for us, the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Health were able to implement a system that took great control of the coronavirus. At present, we have reopened our borders, and people are now coming in, but you must provide a test results that was taken 72 hours before you got to Dominica. When you get to Dominica, we still do a rapid test from you. And if you're coming from an area which is designated as a high-risk area, we will put you into quarantine for another 5 days, test you after that, and move on. In doing so, we were able to maybe pick up another 10 or so cases, but those were caught on the port, or while people were in quarantine, and they were sent into further government quarantine and treated there. Some of them have since cured and went home, and there are a few active cases that have been held in quarantine and been treated by the medical personnel here in Dominica. So at present, if you're in Dominica, it's a good place to be. It's a safe place to be. I feel safe leaving my home in the morning, taking my son to school, my wife to work, coming to the office, going to the supermarkets. Of course, we practice social distancing, we wear our mask, and otherwise we feel very safe. And I think that the population of Dominica, I feel now comfortable. Initially, in the first few months, everyone had the eerie feeling of not sure what's happening. But the way in which the Prime Minister and the Ministry of Health implemented the systems, people, I think, now are fully confident with what's happening, and we feel safe here in Dominica, but we practice social distancing.
Sounds good. Good to know that things have gone online, and practically we can see also. But I wanted audience to hear it from your side, CIU, directly. So I think Dominica has proactively reacted to the situation and made the process simpler. So online submission and then originals can follow. It was a great initiative, and I think that is the reason why there is a surge in the volume also. There are changes on the family application. So I think it's for good. Can you explain us more about the family application?
Yes, again, I'm not trying to go ahead of the Prime Minister, but we had the first few months of coronavirus, and what we felt that what we should do, we said to ourselves, let us look within and see what is it that we could do to improve the industry. While things were a bit slow, we wanted to look at ways of improving our program. And Dominica being a family-oriented program, what we felt we could do was look into the mirror. And we felt making the program more family-friendly would be a key thing that we would do. during the coronavirus, people were stressed and the anxiety that was all over. In Dominica, the family for us is key. The family is crucial and vital. So what we felt that we could have done was to look at what we could do to make our clients, make our citizens, make our people feel more comfortable. And we felt that by making the program more family friendly, that was important for us. Very often when you have a family, somebody is so successful and he or she helps the rest of the family. So we say, how could he or she bring in other members of the family into the program? And we felt that we could amend our regulations to allow that. So now a main applicant can now apply for his siblings once they're under 25, unmarried and without children. So before that was not possible. So I can now bring in my brother or my sister and bring them in. If you bring in your brother or sister who's under 18, that is who is a minor, we charge a fee of $25,000 for that. If that brother or sister is over 18, but less than not over 25, it's $50,000. So you could bring in your brothers and sisters at fees 25 or 50,000, depending on the age. But we also agreed that you could bring in your grandparents. The family, again, looking at the family structure and family support, we felt if we can stay together as family, then we could do better. So we allow applicants now to bring in as dependents their brothers and sisters, their grandparents. We took away the age limit for parents from 55, so it's now an open age for bringing in your parents. So you could do that. Also, again, sticking to the way of looking at the family, we felt, why can the main applicant apply for his mother and father and the spouse cannot? So that was an abnormality. So we allow to bring in dependents on both sides of the union. You're a married couple, I'm the husband, I could bring in my parents, but my wife can also bring in her parents. So we allow that to happen because we are looking at the family structure and trying to get the effect of keeping the family together. The family that stays together and who prays together stays together. And in Dominica, we're moving along those lines. So now you can also bring in your parents, and your spouse parents can come in as well as citizens of Dominica, as dependents on your application. We also felt that because you could bring in your dependents at 50,000 or 25,000, depending on the case, before a spouse was 75,000. We felt it was being a little too harsh on the spouse. So we reduced the amount for a spouse from 75,000 to 50,000. So now a husband and wife under the government fund would be $150,000 and not $175,000. And because you adjusted the price for the spouse, it means therefore if you're going to bring in two other members of your family, two other dependents, it's now $175,000 down from $200,000. Again, the idea was not to reduce price or reduce cost, but the idea was to let the program reflect and assist the families in going through tough and difficult times. That's our contribution to the program at this point in time, and that's what we did. Thank you.
Excellent initiative. So one application, you can add your parents, your father-in-law, your mother-in-law, and your siblings. So that's quite a bit of flexibility.
And grandparents.
And grandparents, of course. Yes. Okay, so the Prime Minister, though you have touched base on the fact that this is not a second-grade citizenship, but people would like to have a complete clarification, because from this part of the world, I've been asked again and again, is it really exactly same citizenship like anybody? What exactly is the difference between a native-born Dominican citizen and somebody coming through a donation program or real estate program?
Fact is, there are no differences whatsoever.
No difference whatsoever.
No difference whatsoever. You are entitled to the same benefits and the same privileges as if you were born in Dominica. As I said, your citizenship can be revoked if, and you see it on the application form, that if you provide falsified information during the application process, and that is revealed later, then this is a basis upon which your citizenship can be revoked. Or if you involve yourself in a serious crime against the nation, say treason or something of this nature, then this will be a basis upon this. But outside of this consideration, there are no differences. As I said, if you're a Dominican citizen and you were to have a child tomorrow, that child will automatically become a Dominican citizen. If you're coming to Dominica you can own property in your name with a certificate of title that is registered in law, protected by our constitution, that is in place. If you come in and you meet the residency requirement, you can even in fact vote in our elections in Dominica. And if you come in, you can move around freely, and once you conform to the constitution, provisional constitution in Dominica, there are no issues whatsoever. And like I said, the passport which we issue based on your application is the same passport that we all have. There's no differentiation. There's no differentiation whatsoever between this passport. So really and truly, my friend, there are no differences between someone who becomes a citizen through the route of the CBI to that of somebody who would have been born into the Dominican society. And that's very important, because you sometimes, in our countries, the world over, we engage in political battles between parties, and there may be political parties will say, when I come into government, I will revoke the citizenship of people. In Dominica, that cannot happen. If there's a change of government, though there will not be a change of government for the foreseeable future, this will not happen, because your citizenship is protected, and so forth. So there's no fear about tomorrow my citizenship can be revoked and I can no longer be a citizen, or this government is just about taking my money, and then once it reaches my money, then it forgets about us. And the fact of the matter is, my friend, our establishment of an embassy in the UAE is a signal of the need for us to provide services, because a significant number of our citizens reside in that region. We have had our embassy in Greece, our consulate in Greece, providing services for a very long time, and our Mr. Christos Valikos had done a fantastic job and continues to do so. And now with Ambassador Charles, who is the most experienced ambassador we have, who's been assigned to that responsibility, himself has been doing a fantastic job. So there are absolutely no differences, and so people like yourself can rest assured that you'll always be a citizen of Dominica.
Thank you very much. Okay, lot of large business owners, they intend to invest big time in Dominica, and they want to make Dominica as a base. So their question is always around that these kind of tax breaks, is it to a particular sector, or it's wide open basically?
Wide open, wide open, wide range of concessions. If for example, you have a medical practitioner who wants to open a medical practice in Dominica, he wants to bring in his equipment, medical equipment. These things he would enjoy concessions. If you want to establish a factory, you get up to 20 years of tax holidays, and with the possibility of an extension. You will bring in all of your machinery and spare parts in with no import duties. You can repatriate your profits, as you wish, obviously following the banking rules. Your investments are protected by law. So there are a wide range of concessions that one can benefit from. I think maybe, Nanthan, what we may want to do is to link the CBI unit with the investment agency, so that our citizens can have a better appreciation for the extensive concessions which we are offering and providing to investors. And you have a stable political system in Dominica. You have a strong government in place, which respects the rule of law, the security of our country. I mean, as Prime Minister, I don't need to have security walking the streets, and there are times I drive myself around with my windows down. We go to our beaches and to our rivers and to our forests with no fear of our security or safety. Our health system has been improved. We are building new hospitals. We're building health clinics. We have additional high-end equipment and at the disposal of the hospital personnel. The infrastructure has been improved. Our education system is of high quality, you know, and we have 100% access to primary education, 100% access to secondary education, 100% access to our community college. And our citizens who relocate, their children will have the same access to the healthcare facilities, to the schools, as we currently do as resident citizens.
Another question from the business community is what kind of tax liability they're incurring. So if they take a Dominican passport and they don't stay in Dominica and travel around the world, so do they attract any kind of global tax liability?
No, no. For you to be tax resident in Dominica, you would have to spend about 183 days of the year in Dominica. We do not tax, if you become a Dominican citizen, we do not tax your global income. So your global income is not taxed. We don't ask you to file income tax returns if you become a citizen of Dominica, if you're not resident in Dominica. So we're not interested in your, we're interested in it, hoping that you will put some of it in our banks in Dominica and invest in Dominica. But insofar as taxing your global income, no, we don't do so.
Jahan, you can take over the format now.
Thank you, Mr. Farooq. And I think perhaps this is the most interesting part of the webinar, where we've got the questions pouring in. And I think we've already heard from His Excellency Nanthan about some changes that he mentioned about adding the family. I think we can perhaps take some questions, and these would mostly be from Mr. Nanthan, because we've got a lot of questions. And before we do that, we actually got a question, but this is not a question, but we've got Mr. Mohammed Mansoor, who's saying that he's a new citizen of Dominica and he's very proud about it, and he's sending his regards to Honorable Prime Minister and His Excellency. So, Mr. Mansoor, you are welcome as a Dominican, and your regards have been sent.
Well, he shall have no regrets whatsoever, and he should be encouraged to bring all his family members so that they all would be one happy Dominican family.
I would say perhaps that's what happens here generally in this part of the world. As His Excellency said, that families are very important, and we have a lot of people who actually apply as families, and whatever changes we've seen recently are actually happening to us.
There's also one more incentive we put in for the families that I did not mention in my presentation. What we decided was that sometimes people, because you invest in large amounts of money, are not sure that they want to do the investment one time. So they want to ensure that it works first. So what we allowed is that an applicant can add the remainder of his families for the same fee as if he added them in the original application for the same fee. So if I become a citizen in January, I would have added my wife and my children for 175. If I did not do that initially, I can do that after. I have 1 year to add them. 1 year after getting a certificate of naturalization that made you a Dominican, you could apply. You could add them for the same fees 1 year after. If you do so more than a year, or 2 or 3 or 4 years after, you would have to pay an additional $20,000 to $25,000 per person, per dependent on that. So again, there's the incentive for you adding your family members within a year after you becoming a citizen of Dominica.
That's a great news. Does it, the differential applies to real estate also, or just donation?
It is for a citizen of Dominica. So once you apply to, in the program, you can add your dependents at the same fee that you would have added them if you had included them in the original application for up to 1 year after you become a citizen of Dominica.
Excellent.
Thank you, His Excellency. We've got a lot of questions which obviously ask about the cost of the investments, and I don't think this is the right platform because these are very case-specific questions. So I would like to request our viewers to get in touch with us. You could go to our website and book a consultation, and the exact costs will be calculated and given to you, the very specific to each application.
I think there's also some other information I wanted to share with our viewers.
Sure.
You would have known, you're in the industry, you follow very closely, you would have seen that the Financial Times of London, for the 4th consecutive year, ranked the Dominica program as the best migration program in the world.
Sure.
So it's not coming from me or from the Prime Minister or from the people who work with us. The Financial Times of London did a study of all programs in the world. And for the 4th consecutive time, just last month, they put out an article in the Financial Times, again, coming out of London, saying that the Dominica program is the best program. And they recognize the work we did for families, and those were taken into consideration in we continuing as the #1 program in the world. So the press that we get, the positive effect we get from the program, I believe is quite remarkable. The Economist a few months ago spoke of the program in Dominica as a game changer. Again, another international magazine, well-known international financial magazine, referring to the Dominica and our program and featuring our program in the Economist as a game changer and showing how well the program has helped assist Dominica in its development goal and objectives. So we are here, we are continuing doing that. The IMF stated that even after with Corona, our economy is expected to grow by up to 5% this year. And that, of course, is the fastest growing economy in Latin America and the Caribbean. And we have been for the last 3 years, the fastest growing economy in Latin America and the Caribbean. So really and truly, our potential investors, people who want to invest, sometimes they want to know that we invest in something that is real, something that is recognized, something that is positive. And Dominica, in our program, we provide all these things for you. We continue to ensure that our due diligence is the cornerstone of our program, that it is key for us. We do not accept application directly from citizens or investors. Somebody asked a while ago, how can I apply? Can I get the link? Simply, you must go through an agent. We do not know the investors directly, so our agent must submit with the application form a Know Your Client certificate. They must know the client and vouch that they know the person. They must also do a world check on each applicant, because that is the initial due diligence on the customer. Once we get the application, we send those out to our security vetting from the intelligence from our police force, and they work with our international partners to ensure that the people who are applying are not on any watch list for security or financial reasons. So that is done. Then we send it out to our due diligence firm, because we choose 4 of the best firms in the world who do the due diligence for the largest financial institutions in the world. And they go on and do what is called enhanced due diligence on each applicant. Boots on the ground. They come to the area where you live, they go to the schools where you work, they interview people in the industry which you operate, and in the town where you live. They'll send us pictures of your office, of your homes. We get all these things because we have to know the people we are accepting as clients. Then our staff will analyze all the information provided, and they're trained in those areas as well, and would make recommendations whether we accept or whether we decline a participant. We do that because we have a responsibility to the international community to ensure that the people who we give the privilege to be Dominicans and travel the world with a Dominican passport are in fact bona fide people, bona fide citizens of global citizens. So that is important for us as well.
Thank you, His Excellency. Well, we've got, Honorable Prime Minister, we've got Mr. Hadi Khan, no questions, but his compliments, and he's thanking you for your contribution towards global harmony.
Sure, thank you. And just to say, I know there's a question about, thank you very much, my friend, about dual nationality. Whether Dominica, our laws allow for this?
Yes.
The simple answer is yes. We allow for multiple nationalities. So you could be a citizen of Dominica and be a national of 5 other countries or 10 other countries if you so desire. So we don't restrict on the issue of nationality. So you can be a Dominican citizen and be a citizen of any other country.
Great. Thank you, Prime Minister. There's a question about choosing the investment type, and I think you already touched a bit about this, but I think let's ask this for the benefit of our listeners and viewers. So can we choose the investment type, just in case we don't really want to, somebody does not want to invest in real estate? You've talked about it a bit, but could you just answer this question again?
In Dominica, we have the Citizenship by Investment Program, We started in March of 1993, that's 28 years ago, an experience program. What the government decided then was that they would allow investors to invest in Dominica and by so doing become citizens of Dominica. In Dominica, you're a Dominican through 4 different areas. 1, if I'm born in Dominica, I'm naturally a Dominican. 2, if my parents are Dominicans and they have a child after they are Dominicans, of course, then you have a citizen by descent. So you could have someone become a citizen, my child or your child if you're Dominican. If you have a child tomorrow, that child can get citizens of Dominica by descent. 3, there are people who come to Dominica and live and work here for a number of years. I think there's a minimum of 8 years. They could apply and become citizens after. And 4, you could invest in Dominica through 2 areas. 1, there is a direct government donation, and that is legislated by the law of Dominica. The fees are mandated and stipulated by law in Dominica. For a single applicant, direct government donation, it's $100,000 plus fees. You have due diligence fees, you have processing fee of $1,000. Due diligence normally for an adult of would be $7,500. We have certificate of naturalization fees, $750. There are small fees. The total would be $112,000, $12,500. So that would be the direct thing for a direct government donation single applicant. If you want to add your spouse, it will be $150,000 plus the necessary processing fees, and due diligence fees. Then you will add a family, spouse, husband, wife, and 2 dependents. They could be your parents, grandparents, or your spouse, parents, grandparents, or your children, or whatever. Once they're qualified, your siblings under 25, it would be $175 for a family of 4. $25,000 for anybody beyond that. Those are the fees of Dominica, and they are mandated and stipulated by law. The other area you could do is invest in a real estate. Government have approved. You first have to apply to the government so that your project can be an approved real estate. You can't just come in and apply to build a restaurant or give somebody some money, invest in a restaurant or in a bar or in a hotel or in a farm or a water bottling plant or something like that. The project must be a pre-approved government real estate program. Once it's approved by government, if you invest in that real estate or in that particular project, then you can be a citizen of Dominica. The funds you invest are your funds. It's a private sector project. The funds belong to the shareholders, but the government have identified that particular sector as important and key for national development. So for instance, we are doing 5 five-star hotels. The most 5-star hotels being built anywhere in the Caribbean, and the Caribbean really and truly are among the world leadership in terms of tourism. So Dominica is away and above, upfront in that area. So I could safely say that in Dominica, we are leading the globe in the development of high-end, first-class 5-star resorts. And that's been done in Dominica. We are speaking yet and promoting Anichi Resort, which is part of the Marriott group of companies. Marriott is the world's largest hotel chain. And one of the highest level of the hotels is being built in Dominica, the Marriott Anichi Resort, Marriott Autograph Collection. Within a number of other hotel chains, again, they're all globally known. But the government has identified that sector as being important for national development. They provide rooms, high-end quality rooms for the many guests who want to visit Dominica because we are the nature island of the world. We do not want to be just a tourist destination where people come in and walk around without spending. In Dominica, I think it is safe to say we are not just the nature island of the Caribbean, we are the nature island of the world. And we offer a lifestyle that is lovely, eco-friendly, where nature is in abundance, our flora, our fauna, the centenarians, everything that we do here in Dominica. I really and truly feel that I'm blessed by being born on one of the most beautiful places in the globe. So we are allowing people to invest in those areas. We're enhancing the experience in Dominica. And when you invest in those programs, you become a citizen of Dominica as well. I mentioned before, the shares are yours. It's a private sector program. And therefore, you can sell your shares and recoup your investment after 3 years. If you hold your investment for 5 years, the person who would buy from you, once they go through due diligence, they could qualify to be citizens of Dominica as well. So it's really and truly a no-brainer. I invest in a Marriott hotel, 5-star hotel. I become a citizen of Dominica. I get a passport. I could get a passport that will help me travel around the world. It used to be to 120 countries. It's now up to 140 and growing. I could travel around the world. But not just that, my children could also be citizens of Dominica, and their children, and their children. So I'm investing. I could sell my investments after 5 years, get back my funds, but my children will always be citizens of Dominica. My descendants will always be citizens of Dominica. And they have the opportunity to have the Dominican passport that help them to move around the world. As the head of the program here in Dominica, I must say, it is very well understood in the industry, the value of that Dominican passport. When I sit here at my office, I look at the applications coming in. A lot of the captains and of some of the larger airlines, they apply to be citizens of Dominica. Who better would know the value of a passport to take you to so many places than the people who work in the air and fly for the major airlines themselves? So really and truly, to understand the value of the program and the value of investments, you could go to these high-end people who do it themselves, who live it every single day, and they invest to get that privilege. And that privilege can be passed on to your children and your children and their children.
Thank you. Another thing I would like to add here is after 5 years, a lot of people ask me, what am I going to do with this share? It's like any other investment in the world, right? But the way I look at it is that you're investing about $220,000, which is about 850,000 dirham. This is the best gift you can give to your family, because as I always say, that you could buy pay for best holiday in the world. You could buy your family first class, but you can't buy them that visa to go to Disneyland. And with these kind of strong passport, you could travel the next day, you know, literally. So your travel become easy, number one. Number two, let's talk about the exit strategy of the investment. Exit strategy is as simple as you could sell it to your brother, sell it to your friend, sell it to your associate. So this is pretty liquid, because as His Excellency said, that the lock-in period is 3 years, but 5 years is the real lock-in, practical lock-in for me, because when the next guy buys it, he can apply for citizenship at 5 years. So a lot of people make an arrangement that, okay, year 5, I sell it to a friend of mine, and then you could do a payment plan from 3rd year or so on and so forth. So there are lots of ways, and at the end of the day, you become a proud owner of a unit in a Marriott signature collection. So that is again a great investment. If you hold on to your investment, you make typically 4% return or the projected returns based on the delivery. And if you don't want to hold on after 5 years, you simply sell it in a resale market.
Thank you,
and I must add, it is already in practice in Dominica. In that, if you stay at Marriott, you look down the view from Marriott. We have Kempinski that is sold out. But people who invested in Kempinski 5 years ago are now selling the shares. So they're recouping the investments and moving on. So really, it's really something that is already in practice in Dominica, and investors are aware of that.
Yes, and I think the program has been running for about 30 years now, and people have always it's only getting better, and it's only getting more popular. So I don't see any problem for any investors to be able to sell their investment after 5 years to perhaps a new potential citizen of Dominica. Thank you, His Excellency. I've got a question for Honorable Prime Minister. Are we expecting any new countries to be added to the visa-free list?
Oh yes. We're working on many countries. We have concluded our negotiations with the People's Republic of China, for example. We simply just need to sign on to the final agreement. We've been delayed on this part with COVID-19. But once we sign this final agreement, then our citizens will have the opportunity to travel to the People's Republic of China visa-free. And there are a number of other countries that we're now in negotiations with. I expect in the next few months, we will conclude negotiations with those countries. So expecting 2020 to see an increase in the number of countries where there are visa-free access of our citizens.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
I just wanted to add at the beginning, and I told Mr. Farooq from yesterday that the PM had 2 other webinars that he had to do. He did one before this one. That's the second one for the day. He has a third one, and therefore I think it's about the time that he has to leave. So I have to remind him of that. I know he feels very comfortable being here with us, but I have to remind him that he had another obligation. He had one at 9:30 this morning at the Dominica time, and he has another one coming up.
There's a meeting going on with the Caribbean Development Bank. And I also have the responsibility of Minister of Finance. So I need to participate in that meeting, which is going on now. But I truly enjoyed being with you. You know, we look forward to being together physically so that I could meet with our current citizens and our prospective citizens. Because for me, the interaction is important. The fact that we're making ourselves available to respond to questions or concerns is a clear manifestation of the seriousness of this program. That you know who you're dealing with, that you know who you're engaging, and this is how we say it. And of course, as I said, Ambassador Nanthan, the head of the unit, is very accessible, and he's empowered to answer any question and to respond to any question that you may have. But I really want to thank you, Mr. Imran, Farooq, and AAA for your partnership. And we look forward to strengthening this partnership as we work towards the completion of the Anichi Resort. It's a resort that has been developed by one of our most respected citizens, Mr. Ali Clarence, someone whom I have the greatest personal, professional respect and regard for. And we really want to commend him for his efforts in moving this project forward. And of course, ably assisted by people like yourself and those who have invested thus far. And I want to say to those who are tuned into this webinar and who are contemplating about submitting the application, really, when it comes to giving consideration to become a citizen, there's not much thought one should put in deciding to come across to Dominica. This is a well-respected program, very transparent, one which is tailored to respond to the needs of our people, of our prospective applicants and our citizens. And this is why, as Ambassador Nanthan mentioned, we have gone and made some dramatic but important changes or additions to the family requirement. And this is extraordinary. And it is largely because we have listened to the stakeholders, but also fundamentally we value family. In Dominica, this is one of the few countries in the region, our region, where you will still see a presence of the extended family. Many people know the nuclear family. We do have nuclear family, but we have a high incidence of extended families. So we know what is it for your grandmother to live with you, and we know what is it for a relative to live in the same household as you do. And so we have seen a great applause coming from the marketplace in response to the changes where the family is concerned that we've made to our program. And we will continue to look at the recommendations. And of course, Mr. Farooq and all those who are in this forum, if there are any suggestions that you have as to how you believe we can enhance and improve and to make our program more robust, feel free to make those recommendations to us. We're very open to this. This is an evolving program. The world changes, and therefore we have to respond to the challenges and the changes of the world. So we wish you all the best, and may God continue to bless your families, and may God continue to bless all of us as we work through this very challenging period. It is a challenging period, but we ought not to be daunted. There are opportunities in every difficult moment, and it is left to us as citizens of the world, and in this case, citizens of Dominica, to identify the opportunities and let us take advantage of it. And the most important thing is that the Lord continues to bless us with life. And once we have life, we can work towards achieving anything that we set our eyes on. And so I wish all of us, all of you, God's blessings and God's continued guidance as we go through from a global standpoint with this coronavirus pandemic. Thank you, and a pleasure. Many thanks for your invitation. I will avail myself at another opportunity for such, and I will look forward to have direct interaction with your participants in the future. For me, this is the most important part of such events. You know, being able to hear directly from the audience, and I look forward to having an opportunity next time. Though I have seen some of the questions and we have noted them, and certainly we'll continue to respond to the questions and the suggestions that have been made. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. I know last time we did, it was in Hyatt Regency. There, we had about 400 odd participants, and I know the Q&A went very long, but this is a completely different format. So looking forward to hosting you, hopefully first quarter next year, when this corona pandemic is hopefully over, once the vaccines are out. So, and really appreciate your time, and sorry for initial technical difficulty. So
that's okay. You know, that's fine. I look forward to us convening in a physical space, you know, in the near future, God's willing. And I'm very confident that we will in the nearest of the future.
Sure.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Okay.
Yes, Jahan, you can continue with that.
We've got a lot of questions for His Excellency today. I mean, you know, obviously, being perhaps the most popular program and the recognition that the program has received year upon year, you know, I really don't know where to start again, because, you know, the questions left and right, His Excellency. So you might have to, you know, bear with us today. There are a lot of questions that are coming in about, you know, the government changing their plan after you get the citizenship. But I think Honorable Prime Minister did speak about it a lot already. But maybe a quick line from you. I've got a question that says that, you know, what's the risk that the government, you know, will change the plan, you know, after they've got the citizenship, and, you know, they decide to suddenly cancel the program?
I'm not sure if I got the question. Can you just please repeat?
So the question is, what is the risk that the government will change their plan after I've got the citizenship? So somebody has been approved, he's got the citizenship.
I think the Prime Minister addressed that in his presentation, in that the program is mandated according to our constitution. It's part of our constitution. It has been there for 20 years. The program is not susceptible to whichever government is in power. In fact, in Dominica, we already had 3 political parties over the last 20, 40 years, all of which have had time to be in government, and all of which have continued the program. So there is a total and absolute acceptance of the program by all political parties, all governments involved in Dominica. We have no issues with the program, and we continue really to enhance the program, to make changes that will make it better and better suited for the applicants, without watering down or filtering down the program that we have. So really and truly, once there are 2 areas for revocation of citizenship. One is if the person lied, provided false information in his application, and 2, for national risk for serious crime as treason against the country. So really and truly, those are the 2 areas we have for revoking or revocation of citizenship. But otherwise, the program is there. Somebody asked, what is the minimum investment? I think that was addressed before. It's $100,000 US for direct government donation, plus the necessary fees, which were or $12,500 for certificate, for processing, due diligence, etc. And then for real estate, it is $220,000, which would include the amounts of money paid for investment in the real estate and the other fees. So really, that's where we are, and that's the fees that we have. And again, I will reiterate that the fees are mandated by law. They are as per the laws of Dominica, and that's what we have. So I cannot go around the fees. I cannot change the fees or price myself. Neither can the Prime Minister, because the law is not My law, the Prime Minister's law, is the law of the land. So the fees are mandated by the law of Dominica.
Thank you, His Excellency. I think the next question I would ask to Mr. Farooq, and this is a client that's asking, and he wants to clarify that, the investments that he's making, obviously, I think he's referring to the real estate investment. This is, supported by the government, and, it's a government project. I think, we need to speak about the approved project.
All the investment goes in approved project, and as we can clearly see that the multiple approved project is all resort based. So in my opinion, the government wants the tourism sector to develop. So all this thing, His Excellency, is backed by a government controlled escrow account. That's what people want to know, that if they're investing during construction, their funds are protected.
Yes, I think, that's what the question is about. It talks about being approachable, yes.
His Excellency, the question would be that if somebody is investing into a approved project, the funds are, the government has a control and the funds are mostly invested against construction?
Yes, the investment, real estate would go into the investment. The developer has to provide the information. The funds go into an escrow that is managed both by the government and the developer. So we monitor the funds and the use of the funds. We have the developers doing the project. We have an approved quantity surveyor who quantifies the work that's done, and funds are released for the project as development and timelines and targets are reached. So that's how we operate. And again, it's because I mentioned before that the investment is a private sector investment, but because we encourage it, and the Prime Minister comes on the program, and I come on the program, and we encourage the investments, then we are able to monitor, and we believe we have a responsibility to monitor so that the client's investments are accounted for.
Thank you, His Excellency. So the next question, it's in the perspective of UAE, so I think Mr. Farooq, you will be the best person to answer. So a gentleman is asking, would you recommend shifting the UAE residence visa to, I think this is a question that we get a lot. So, how do you respond to recommendation of shifting the UAE residence visa to the Dominican passport?
Absolutely. It's like asking me, I bought a Ferrari, should I drive? Yes. It is highly recommended to shift your UAE residence visa on a Dominican passport. And it's a pretty smooth procedure. Hundreds of clients have done it, and it's pretty acceptable. So absolutely, there's no issue with switching your UAE residence visa to your Dominican passport, new citizenship. You should do it. Highly recommended.
Thank you, Mr. Farooq. His Excellency, this is also another question that we get a lot, and I think we need to perhaps clarify it once again. This question is about Brexit and it impacting visa-free access of Dominica to Europe. Will question, will UK still remain, and the European Union obviously, a visa-free region? Perhaps the name Commonwealth of Dominica, a lot of clients think that the agreement is perhaps because it's a Commonwealth country.
Dominica is a Commonwealth country. We have always had visa-free access to the UK, even before UK was part of Europe. Now that UK is back as UK, we still have visa-free access to UK. So the simple answer is yes, our privileges are extended, continues, and we still do have visa-free access both to the United Kingdom and to Europe.
Thank you, His Excellency.
I would like to add, and this is a very common question about the Brexit and Dominica losing Dominica losing visa-free access to UK. What I keep explaining to people, it is UK divorcing Europe. That's it. There's no second agreement in discussion. So whatever is going to happen between European Union and the United Kingdom. So if that doesn't mean that UK is moving out of European Union, doesn't mean they're going to revisit each and every country's relationship. So whatever countries have a visa waiver to UK, those relationships would remain intact, because that's not up for revisiting. The only relationship between European Union and United Kingdom is getting revisited. So please do not think that Brexit is happening, so Dominica is going to lose the access to UK, access to Europe. No, it's none of that. that's not under review.
Thank you, Mr. Farooq. I've got a question, and I'd like to ask this question to His Excellency again. And the question is that how long does it take to become eligible to have a passport? I think the gentleman thinks that he will have to stay in Dominica for a while for getting the citizenship. Well, the great thing about this program is that you're not really required to stay, and you will actually become a citizen while you're here in the UAE or in your home country. Your comments, His Excellency.
Yeah. Sorry. Can you just repeat the question briefly? I had a slight thing. Sorry about that.
The fact that you don't have to go to Dominica to acquire citizenship, this can all be done from your home country.
Yes. Yes. I must say, before we used to have an interview process where everyone was interviewed. But what we found is that for 99%, we did not need an interview really. The information we needed, we got it from our due diligence and people who do background checks for us. So you don't need to travel to Dominica. We don't necessarily need to do an interview. We still do interviews. If we get information that we require, that we are not satisfied with, that we want to get more, we may call an applicant in for an interview. It could be in person, or it could be through Skype or Zoom, something like that. So we still do interviews, but it is not necessary, and it is not done for the majority of applicants. You do not need to be able to speak English to be accepted in our program. It's not, the English speaking is not mandatory for our program. So again, we have eased up some of the restrictions to facilitate our program because we are comfortable. After 20 years, we believe that we know how to assess someone without these requirements. So we have eased up on some of them because our competence in terms of understanding the people we're dealing with, we are very comfortable with that. So you don't have to come to Dominica for an interview. You don't have to come to Dominica after you become a citizen. Although really and truly, we would prefer if you visit your new country. So that we believe for us is important, but it's not mandatory at all.
Thank you, His Excellency. We've got a question which says, after how long will the passport expire? I think he's asking about the validity of the passport, and is there a fee or is there an investment that has to be made again when we renew the passport?
The typical Dominican passport is for 10 years. So when you become a citizen, what we give you at the unit is a certificate of naturalization. We call it CON, Certificate of Naturalization. Then your agent would use that certificate and apply to the immigration department and get you a passport as a Dominican. So the passport is not handled from the unit at all. We give you a certificate, your agent would then apply to the immigration department as a Dominican for you and get you a passport that is valid for 10 years. If your passport expires or it is filled up before that time, you renew your passport for minimal fees. Normal is just a few $100s. You don't have to make back the full investment once you're a citizen. You just have to renew your passport for a few $100s. So really and truly, that will not be a case. The Prime Minister announced earlier that he has signed an agreement with a company to do biometric passports, and those will be issued by the end of the first quarter of next year. So hopefully your passport won't be filled as quickly as they are at present over the last 10, 20 years.
Thank you, His Excellency. And this was one of the questions, and you already answered that about the biometric passports. So the answer to that question is end of the first quarter next year. These biometric passports, once issued, His Excellency, I would assume that they would be delivered and processed at the respective embassies, wherever the clients are.
Yes, so you could apply for renewal of your passport or for your passport through your agent. We have put in place embassies to facilitate our program. The Prime Minister announced the embassy in Abu Dhabi, where we have His Excellency Hubert Charles and his First Secretary Kathy doing a good job there meeting our citizens out there. So really and truly, we provide those information. We provide, we try to be as accessible as possible to all our citizens so they can get the information. But that's how we are. Someone asked the question of how long does it take? We approve in principle, generally speaking, within 90 days, 3 months. You don't have to pay until you are approved in principle. So we don't ask the investor to invest until you are approved in principle. For real estate, sometimes the developers ask for a down payment that is I'm not sure refundable or non-refundable to ensure that you're not wasting their time. that is outside of the government purview, but we ask for our payments after you are approved in principle. And generally speaking, that's done within 3 months. Once the funds are cleared, once you pay, we do a draft certificate, get it through our agents and get it back. And generally speaking, we are able to have you that done within a few weeks after it is done. I am not saying that we have not had 1 or 2 cases that were delayed for other reasons. Sometimes something fall within the cracks, for which we apologize to those who that happened to. But generally speaking, we're able to approve and deal with an applicant within a 3 months period, and sometimes for a little longer, just a little longer for our certificate and the passport.
I would like to add that that's the beauty about the program, that you do not make the major investment unless and until you got comfort letter from the government. So only when you get a comfort letter confirming that in principle you have been approved, that is the time you make the donation or real estate investment. And the small deposit which the real estate development asked, $10,000, also, excuse me, that's completely, fully refundable in case if there's a rejection. His Excellency, what's the percentage of rejection?
Generally speaking, our agents know the type of people who we accept. And our agents are given annual license. So we review the license of every agent every year. If an agent is bringing in too many bad files, his license will not be renewed. So as a result, our agents do good work that we're satisfied with on vetting the applicants, and therefore our rejection rate is less than 5%, because our agents would give us quality files, because they know if they don't, then they would lose the license for working with us.
Our personal experience is that rejection rate is under 2%, because I think we're in this part of the world, and AAA is both a fully registered agent with an office in Dominica and an international marketing company also.
Yes, it is indeed, and thank you, Mr. Farooq, and His Excellency. As a company, we always make sure that we complete our due diligence before we take on any new applicant, and complete all the KYC formalities. And obviously, you mentioned earlier as well, checking all of our clients in various databases, WorldCheck being one of them. And it's only after that, once we think that the file is right, we submit it to the unit. So I've got another question, and I think Mr. Farooq, you being a businessman, and although you've already talked about it before, but how profitable do you think making the investment in the resort in Anichi? What is the expected return?
Look, principally, this is what I tell everybody, that you're not making a investment for highest ROI, return on investment. You're making investment to solve a problem. So principally, you need to look at security of investment, first of all. Secondly, Jihan, I think the video we played at the beginning, was it construction video?
It was indeed.
Yeah, so as you could see in the construction video, the structure is done, and a majority of the work is done. And so you're coming when at least 70% of the work is done. So your risk is very minimal. Thirdly, as His Excellency confirmed, that there is very tough regulation, and government is a co-signatory in withdrawal of funds. So your funds are very tightly monitored. So your funds are extremely secure. Let's come on the return part. I'm expecting a 4 to 5% return on investment. That's what I would expect. And some of my clients from various Asian countries, they say, we don't invest nothing less than 12%, 14%. But yes, you're right. But you have to factor in 8 to 10% depreciation against the dollar, right? Here you're investing into a country which is pegged to a dollar, so so you do not have a currency loss, and you're investing into a mature brand, and so your investment is A, very secure, B, 4 to 5% is the return you're expecting.
Thank you, Mr. Farooq, and I hope that answers the question. So I've got a question for His Excellency, and this is related to the process. As part of the application, His Excellency, clients are supposed to show funds available in bank accounts. So a gentleman is asking that can he show his properties instead of liquid cash, because he plans to liquidate his properties for the citizenship application, but only after he receives the approval, just to make sure that he does the right move.
For some reason, your voice is not coming out very clearly on the side, but I get the impression you're asking. Yeah, go ahead.
Mine is clear.
Yeah, you're very clear.
So customer is asking that he has the assets which he wants to only sell once he get income in principle approval. Comfort level.
Yes. Generally speaking, we would prefer to have seen the funds in an account that the funds are coming from, but we understand if the person is unable to, then we will still proceed. We will still proceed. But generally speaking, it is better for us if the funds are in an account and we have the details of the account that the funds are coming from, because when that goes to the bank, it makes it easy as well for transfers of monies and acceptance of monies in the bank. Okay.
Right. Thank you, His Excellency. Now, again, we've been talking about the family and the family reunion, for quite a while, and I hope I'm clear this time, His Excellency. Now, the question is about, the kids. So, if somebody, acquires the citizenship and his children got the citizenship, when those children, obviously, when they grow up and have their own families, how do you treat their families? How does the process go for them?
I mentioned early on that in Dominica, we have citizens by descent. If I'm a Dominican and I have a child, my child is entitled to citizenship of Dominica by descent. Whether my child was born in the UK, in New York, in Australia, in the UAE, or in Bangalore, my child could be a citizen because I'm a citizen of Dominica. I could simply apply directly to the registry department, or I could apply through an agent, a citizenship agent that's accepted by the government, approved by the government, who is on the site, and apply for citizenship for my children. So the simple answer is yes. Your children, once they're born after your citizen of Dominica, will be entitled, and their children and their children's children, it goes on.
Thank you. And obviously, we call it citizenship for generations, which it is indeed. Well, there's a question, and obviously we've been holding this seminar. The reason we do this webinar is because we are, approved agents for the program. So I have a question which says, is AAA an authorized government agent? Well, certainly we are. We have His Excellency, the head of Citizenship by Investment Unit, taking questions from us direct. And your comments, Mr. Farooq.
Yes, well, if you check on the website, then you will see AAA is listed there. And the fact that I'm here with them validates the fact that they're agents. I could go further and say that there are certain members of AAA family who themselves are citizens of Dominica. I cannot call the names, but I know there are a number of members within the AAA family who themselves are Dominican. And what we find is that, generally speaking, a lot of the agents who are involved in citizenship, a lot of them are in fact citizens of Dominica because they know the value of the Dominica program. So if you look at the major people involved in the industry the world over, just check them. All the big firms, and I could call them, some of them not to promote Dominica, but all of them travel on Dominican passports because they know the value of the program. And it's within the industry it is, within the major airlines, most of the people who travel there, who work there, in fact, travel with Dominican passports. The program has been well established for 28 years, recognized. Financial Times, The Economist, Forbes magazine, all of them, CNN have all given great kudos and written great stories on our program and on Dominica. So really and truly, we're inviting you to invest, not just in a fly-by-night or a Johnny-come-lately program. We're inviting you to invest in something that is bona fide, that has been proven, tried, and tested, and where the value is known by those who would know best in the industry.
Thank you, His Excellency.
Because of the privacy policy, didn't want to declare that I'm a Dominican citizen also, but yes, I confirm I'm a Dominican citizen also, and that's the reason we have a full-fledged office in Dominica, and we are full-fledged agents. And I'm enjoying the freedom, as I say, it gives me wings to fly around here and there, and so visa on arrival, I'm enjoying the benefit for the last several years now.
Thank you, Anna. We've got another question, and His Excellency, this is about being a citizen of a Caribbean community country. So the question says, as a new Dominican citizen, can I live in any Caribbean community country, or are there any restrictions?
As a citizen of Dominica, you are allowed to visit and live in the Caribbean community. In fact, what we offer, our passport is a Caribbean community passport. It doesn't just say Dominica. So all our CARICOM passports are CARICOM passports, and you're a member of the Caribbean community. And we mentioned before, the Prime Minister mentioned, there are no differentiation between a citizen. Once you're a citizen, you're a citizen. As you're entitled to a citizenship as anybody else. The privileges are the same for me or for Mr. Farooq, who became a citizen through the program.
Thank you, His Excellency. Now, we've got a question about investment in Dominica, and I think, Mr. Farooq, you as a businessman and as a Dominican citizen who's been to Dominica multiple times, what are the most attractive, venues for investment in Dominica? So, if there's a client who once acquires the citizenship would want to make further investments, let's say in business, which areas do you see as the most potential?
Yeah, a number of people who become citizens who invested through real estate or direct government donation. And then they come to the island and they absolutely love it here. And then they want to do other investments, and they do so. So other investments are welcome. We invite our citizens to come in and play a part in nation building. It is our country. We are all citizens of Dominica, and that is good. I'll also mention here that the Prime Minister, in his last budget, mentioned that very soon we will be doing a new program, not a citizenship program, but it is a residency program, whereby people could come in and live in Dominica for about 2 years, invest small amounts in private sector businesses that will be approved. And in so doing, then they could be citizens of Dominica. So I mentioned earlier in my presentation, people come into Dominica, live and work for about 8 years, and they become citizens. Now we're saying, with the whole COVID situation, people could come to Dominica, work from Dominica, and a number of people are doing it at present. Some of those people, if they invest in certain small businesses in Dominica approved by the government, that will be launched later on, but it has already been announced, then they have to reside here for 2 years, and then they would qualify. So instead of waiting 8 years or 10 years, you could actually become a citizen through that program after 2 years. It wouldn't apply or appeal to everybody, but there's a number of people interested in that. In fact, I have a friend waiting on me from Bangladesh. Expect me to have a discussion with him on that, which I will be doing within the next hour or two. But a number of people are applying and asking questions about that. It has gained quite a bit of interest. People come to Dominica right now because of Corona. Your movements is not restricted in Dominica because we're able to control Corona from our borders. You could come into Dominica, do your quarantine for 5 days at a hotel or one of the facilities, be tested, monitored every day by the Ministry of Health. Once you go through that, then you're allowed to mingle with the rest of Dominicans in any way. So you can do that, and then you can actually work out of Dominica. I remember going to Kempinski during the lockdown, and there were a number of people there living at Kempinski. They were living there, they were working there, they were going out on the beach there. Now that we open up, then they continue to live and work from their rooms or the villas at Kempinski, wherever their work is around the world. The internet facility is absolutely wonderful. They work and live in Dominica. In the evenings, they go out to have dinners at restaurants. They go to the playing field or do their walks or ride. We still have a number of social areas where people go out. The country is as open as can be. We just practice social distancing, but we're still open and we're still free. And I think we are one of the few countries in the world where we're able to continue business with some modification, some adjustments in terms of social distancing and wearing a mask.
Thank you, His Excellency. And that was one of the questions: is Dominica open? And you've got the answer there. Mr. Farooq, you as a businessman, how do you see? What avenues do you see? Where somebody could potentially invest after getting citizenship in Dominica?
I would actually engage myself into a tourism business because that's where I see the big opportunity, especially with the new airport. We're expecting to complete new international airports, tourism will actually go higher. So that's where my focus would be. Then there are a lot of natural things one can do. Water is amazing, and different agriculture projects. So that's what I would focus on.
Thank you. We've got a question which earlier has been answered, but I would like to read the question again. The question is, what happens to my investment if my application is rejected? Well, you don't make the investment or even the donation until you receive the approval. So as Mr. Farooq and His Excellency mentioned, the great thing about the program is that once you're approved and you're given a comfort letter, it's only then you make the investment. I've got another question. Again, this is process related, and this is to do with AAA. And the gentleman is asking, would you be able to process an application for a person who is not in the UAE but overseas? Mr. Farooq, your comments.
Sorry, come again.
An application, would we be able to process an application for a client who's overseas, not in the UAE?
Yes, we are a registered agent, and we can take application from anywhere in the world. So, and we get lots of business from GCC and neighboring markets. And anyways, now everything is online. So it's an online submission. We got Dubai office supporting you. We got various other offices supporting you, and Dominica office is also there, which is working on your application. So whether you're in Saudi or any other part of the world, we're not limited to any single market. So we do 30% of our business is overseas, is where we don't have offices, and it goes pretty smooth. So we don't have any problems dealing with overseas clients.
Thank you. We've talked a lot about this. When somebody gets citizenship through investment, that family, that person is basically as if he was born and brought up in Dominica. Now, we've got a question in this regards, and I would like to ask His Excellency, what sort of rights do citizens that get citizenship through investment enjoy in Dominica? I think His Excellency will have to unmute.
Okay, sorry. Also, we mentioned before that the rights we have as citizens are equal. There are no differentiation between the citizens. We don't differentiate between citizenship. So you could vote in Dominica. Once their qualification for being able to register to vote. Once you meet those qualifications, then you must then you can vote in Dominica. You can live here. You can have houses here. You buy property here. So really and truly, there is no differentiation between me or you. The rights and privileges we have are absolutely the same, are totally identical.
Thank you, His Excellency. And correct me if I'm wrong, if you're less than 18 and more than 60, your medical, you enjoy the medical benefits, the medical happens to be free for you in Dominica.
In Dominica, our healthcare is as such that once you're under 18, then there's free healthcare once the service is provided at the National Hospital. We have just built a new China Dominica Friendship Hospital, providing facilities and specialized services with all doctors for about 24 different specialties. That is currently under construction. About half of it is open so far. We expect to finalize it by early next year to have all of the departments open, and that's been done. Medical services are free once you're provided at that facility if you're under 18 or if you're over 8 or if you're over 60. So our senior citizens and our children are allowed free healthcare in Dominica. For education in Dominica, the no tuition fees are from preschool up to the Dominica State College. So education is free in Dominica as well. So every Dominican have a right to accept, to benefit from the privileges offered by the state for our citizens.
Thank you, His Excellency. We've got a question about, once again, about the real estate investment, where the gentleman wants to know that once the 5-year period is over, for him to be able to sell the investment, who's going to help him with that? Well, AAA Associates is there, obviously, as His Excellency mentioned earlier as well. But I would also like to hear from Mr. Farooq. How would AAA play a part?
I would like to re-highlight the fact that we've discussed this earlier, and I would like to re-highlight this fact because there's a lot of confusion. Your lock-in period is 3 years, but for all practical reason, 5 years is when the new buyer will be entitled to get the citizenship, and the demand is the highest when this new the share you're selling has entitles the new buyer citizenship. So 5 years is the real exit period you should be looking at, and number one. Number two, we can help you sell it. Alternatively, you can sell it to your friends, your relative, your business associate, whatever, whomever you want to do it, right? And a lot of people, after the resort is delivered, would should go and visit the resort because it's an amazing project. And if you intend to keep it, then you will enjoy the rental pool, and that will be coming to you on a regular basis.
Thank you, Mr. Farooq. We've got another question, and this is about the confidentiality. I think we'll perhaps break this question into two parts. So, well, the question says, how confidential is our application? I think we'll begin with Mr. Farooq. How confidential would be the application with AAA, and then we can move on to His Excellency about the confidentiality of the documents and the application. Mr. Farooq, you first.
Your client's application is dealt with highest confidentiality. That's the reason we have state-of-the-art ERP solution, where every application you submit, it's digitally uploaded in our in-house ERP system. And once you get your approval, so the offices around the world and Dominican office, they're digitally dealing with each other. And once the passport is delivered, it's uploaded and the file is locked. So, though we have a very large team, but that only specific people can deal with your application during the process. Once the submission is done, there's no reason for your staff in Dubai or staff in Saudi or Pakistan or wherever to access the application. So the file is locked up through our SOP. And only Dominican office who's dealing with the CIU can access the application. So it's quite confidential at our end.
Thank you. And about the unit.
Yeah, and for us here, confidentiality is absolutely important and necessary. We have all taken an oath here at the office. Once you work here, we have to take an oath once you work here. Everything is totally and absolutely confidential.
Thank you, His Excellency. There's another question.
Sorry, I missed His Excellency's message. He has a next meeting. So last question, please.
Sure. As I said in the beginning, His Excellency, we're talking about perhaps the most popular program, and it's everybody's interest to know more and more. But I think this would be the last question, and this is about making payments to the unit. So, we've got a gentleman asking, are these payments to be made direct, or can they be done through AAA? His Excellency.
Yes, when we approve you in principle, the accounts for payments actually provided in your approval letter. So the payments are made to the accounts that's approved in principle. So that's the method of payment. There are a few instances where there may be exceptions, but it has to be written and requested officially. And we would always give the information for the account payments in the letter of approval.
Thank you, His Excellency. And I would like to thank you for your time today. And I would like to thank you for answering all the questions. I would like to thank our viewers as well. We've not been able to obviously answer all the questions, but we've got the details. And we will be getting back to you with all the answers. And we can be in touch. You can go to our website, www.aaa-international.com. You can book a consultation with us one-on-one, and we would be happy to help. And thank you, Mr. Farooq, and thank you for conducting these sessions. These are very informative indeed, for our audiences and for our clients. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you, His Excellency. Thank you very much for your time. I know it has become very long. We were originally targeting 75 minutes, but you've compensated delay, plus the question kept coming in. So sorry to keep keeping you long. And as I said, I'm a bit bullish. So hope to host you, UN Prime Minister in the first quarter 2021. I'm building the vaccine into calculation and end of pandemic soon, right? So looking forward to see you soon. Thank you very much, participants. We are amazed with the response. It's an amazing response. Until now, I think people want to go on, but we have time limitations. So, so we need to pack up now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. It was indeed my pleasure being here with you, being able to discuss and share. Unfortunately, because of Corona, we're not doing it together, so we can't go out to have dinner or massage after. But the pleasure is mine. We hope that the clients who are interested will give due consideration to what offered here. As I mentioned, we want to reiterate that for us, keeping the family together is important. It's a key and fundamental basic for what we do. We hope that we continue to maintain the high level that you expect and anticipate of us and from us, and that we deliver on those. Efficiency, treating our clients as VIP is part of what we do, part of how we operate. We do not compete with the business down the road. We compete in providing the best services available globally, and that's who we are. That's what we are as the Dominica CBI program. Thank you for having us. We wish you well, and we look forward to seeing you and seeing you investing in the projects and seeing you here in Dominica sometime in the near future. Thank you, and have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.